Good morning, everyone. Please excuse my voice as I'm battling the cold that we all seem to have right now, so I'll be a bit hoarse throughout this, but hopefully I still hold your attention. So when asked to speak to the community sometime last week, I didn't realize that today was Valentine's Day until roughly 4 p.m. yesterday, which is why I saw a number of members in the St. George's community at CVS last night at the card section trying to find something for their significant other. Whoops. So Valentine's Day, who better to speak to the community than I, a man who... Excuse me? A man who clearly loves it more than any man has ever loved it. For those star-crossed lovers out there, may you have selected the right Hallmark card to effectively obscure the awkwardness of what is likely an otherwise very genuine and positive emotion about your significant other. Also, may your order of Sherry's Berries, the Pajamagram, or Vermont Teddy Bear arrive in time to counterbalance the 11 semi-dead roses that will be delivered to Main Hall sometime right around the beginning of sports or on Thursday. Where is Mrs. Cerenzia? Oh, hi, Mrs. Cerenzia. Let's all say hi to Mrs. Cerenzia on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Mrs. Cerenzia. Love you. Mean it. Mrs. Cerenzia, can Benno and I take you, the love of our collective lives, to mission tonight? She said yes, and I did not even have to go to Jared. See, friends, that's called knowing your audience. Never stand between a 7-month pregnant woman and one of the greatest concoctions of fried beef and cheese this side of the Mississippi. Ah, Valentine's Day. What a sham. Like most things in our society today, Valentine's Day is a vapid, empty ploy to sell you more things you don't need, this time in between Christmas and the summer season. But that's okay, I guess, because at its core, Valentine's Day is about a fundamentally good thing. Indeed, a fundamentally crucial thing in all of our lives. And that thing is, of course, love. L-O-V-E. What a word. Love takes many forms. It is sickly sweet in the way of teenage love. I watched the club game yesterday. For those of you who know me, that wasn't a great experience for me. And boy, was I grossed out. And maybe a little jealous, too, actually. It was somehow both inspiring and nauseating. But love can be like that. Love is fluid. It can be a cheesy, smarmy rom-com type of love that makes us want to simultaneously puke and weep. I am now describing The Notebook, yes, which I have seen and I might even own on Blu-ray. But there are also far greater examples and types of love that oftentimes go unnoticed but are no less important. So I'd like to speak to you all today about these types of love. So what follows is a talk on love. It was a stifling July day with a humidity that you only find in 2 places, the Amazon jungle or Philadelphia. The phone buzzed inside of my pocket, and for some reason I didn't ignore it. I'm glad I didn't. I looked at the caller ID and it said Robbie. When Robbie calls, you answer. On the other end of the line was the jovial southern twang I had grown to know and love after working with him and his son Marty as his academic advisor for the previous 2 years. Marty had been the class president in his senior year, had just graduated, thus I wasn't sure why Robbie was reaching out, but that didn't matter. You always wanted to talk with Robbie. We exchanged pleasantries in the way that polite humans do before Robbie asked me a fairly direct question. His youngest son, Sam, was about to begin at the Hill School, and he had been assigned to an advisor that was not me. Robbie was worried about this. I assured Robbie that Sam had been assigned to a far more capable, nurturing, and qualified advisor than myself, but Robbie was not having it. If something were to happen to me, he pleaded, I would want to know that he was in your hands. I would just feel better about that. These words remain etched into my brain. I think about them every single day of my life. You see, the stakes were a bit higher for Robbie, as he had lost his wife, the mother of Marty, Sam, and an older brother, Gray, years earlier to cancer. And here he was asking that I, a recently married boarding school teacher, still navigating the early stages of adulthood, to be there for Sam in case anything were to happen to him. Okay, Robbie, we'll make the switch. We soon concluded our conversation, and we moved on. I was touched, but still unsure why he felt the need to make that call or why he trusted me to such a degree in the event of an emergency. Sam enrolled that fall, and Marty was enrolled at UNC Wilmington. Things were good. Fast forward a year to preseason sports. The buzz of a new school year was very much in the air. We had just finished our third water polo session of the day, and I was looking forward to doing precisely nothing that evening. The phone buzzed in my pocket again. It was an incoming call from the Hill School's main number. The only time your school's main number calls is when something is wrong. I answered, expecting to hear of an advisee in some sort of trouble. But this time it was our school's chaplain. As Reverend Houghton spoke, I listened intently. I did not want to believe him. My mind was unwilling to comprehend the words I was hearing, but the breathless void in the entirety of my torso confirmed the very worst. Robbie had been in a motorcycle accident and was in grave condition. He would not make it. As I fell to the ground, physically unable to speak in order to tell Chrissy what had happened, Robbie's words flooded into my mind. If something were to happen to me, I would want to know he was in your hands. I would just feel better about that. And now I had to tell Sam. Students often ask me if some aspect of a reading or a discussion or a lecture will be on the test. And every single time I'd like to respond with the words of John Green. The test will measure whether you are an informed, engaged, and productive citizen of the world and will take place in schools and bars and hospitals and dorm rooms and in places of worship. You will be tested on first dates, in job interviews, while watching football and while scrolling through your Twitter feed. The test will judge your ability to think about things other than celebrity marriages, whether you'll be easily persuaded by empty political rhetoric, and whether you'll be able to place your life and your community in a broader context. The test will last your entire life, and it will be comprised of the millions of decisions that, when taken together, make your life yours. And everything will be on the test. This was one of my tests. I'm of the firm belief that a good education will teach you how to be successful, but a great one will teach you how to live and how to love. Of course, we want you all to be successful. There is no greater validation for our work as educators than to see you succeed. But success is tricky and oftentimes messy. I would love for Jackson Clark to make millions as some dabbing internet sensation and then to donate that money back to St. George's in my name. The dabbing part will happen, the rest will not happen. I'd also love for him to become a fully formed human being capable of empathy, compassion, service, and love. We're getting there. We have a cult of success in this country that plagues our society. While we're all worried about the next best thing, the clothes, the college, the cars, we often ignore the simple realities of the life in front of us. For the Greeks, this educational focus was on what they called paideia. Dr. Cornel West describes it well, saying, "It is the deep education to get us to shift from superficial things to serious things, to shift from bling bling to life and death, to justice and pain, and to joy, those fundamental elemental things we must come to terms with as we make our moves from our mother's womb to tomb." And that's actually what we're doing here together. And it's rooted in love. It is not always easy. Indeed, today, it feels especially hard for many in the community. A proper education will actually prepare you for death, because preparing for death means learning to live, and living well means learning to love the right things. The truth is, I've never taken a test that prepared me for telling Sam what happened to his father. I've never taken a test that helped me to be a dorm parent in a senior boys' dorm where a resident had recently committed suicide. High SAT scores didn't prepare me to hold the hand of a hockey player who suffered a life-altering stroke while still in high school. AP US History didn't help me as I choked back tears while bear-hugging a former student who shipped off to Iraq just after Christmas. No test ever prepared me to comfort Mrs. Sorenzi as she suffered a miscarriage 3 years ago. But I have read the Upanishads and Confucius, Plato and St. Augustine. I have read Jim Harrison and George Saunders. I have been educated and I have been loved. Part of that education and part of that love even took place here at St. George's. Our school's mission, the very thing that defines us as an institution, speaks volumes about what you all might become. The specific objectives of St. George's are to give its students the opportunity of developing to the fullest extent possible the particular gifts that are theirs and to encourage them in the desire to do so. Their immediate job after leaving school is to handle successfully the demands of college. Later, it is hoped that their lives will be ones of constructive service to the world and to God. And while love is not explicitly mentioned here, it is no less implied. In order to live lives of constructive service to the world and to God, you must love. But you must love the correct things, and you must be invested in life and all of its difficulties. There will be setbacks and hardship. There will be triumphs and achievement. There will be moments when you're not sure that you can possibly go on. But all the while, there will be love. What will you love? Thank you.